I'd like to inform everyone that the Steamship Authority is making an audio and video recording of today's meeting. And if there is anyone else who's making a recording of today's meeting, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon, or if you are joining by phone, pressing *9 on your keypad. And when you're recognized, please state your name for the record. Thank you. I see 5. Yes. Would you like to talk? Hello? Well, they don't appear to.
I'm not sure they know that you're talking to them.
Says, so I've muted them. Now I'm unmuting them.
This is the phone number 508
Yeah,
098. You're trying to identify?
I'm trying to identify them and get them. I've unmuted them. They are coming forward. Any idea why?
They need to unmute. They should push *6 on their phone.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's somebody else.
No, that's
8101.
And who is it?
That's the mystery question.
508, 5098.
101.
Are you able to identify yourself? Okay.
Sorry, it's Gregory Carroll.
Oh, Gregory. All right. Great to see you, or hear you anyway. Okay. I'm going to leave you on audio so we don't have to worry about this anymore.
Thank you.
Okay. So, fun.
084000254. You know who that is?
They don't have their hand raised.
That's Steve Arujo, the other one. I think he said 0254.
Yep.
Yep.
That's Steve Arujo.
Just so we know who's here.
Okay. So I am going to unmute him too.
That's scary.
Doesn't seem to be holding. There we go.
His choice.
All right. That's an audio. That's Steve. That's Steve Arujo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So in response to Governor Baker's executive orders concerning the necessity to conduct public meetings in line with social distancing guidelines during the current state of emergency involving the COVID-19 pandemic, all working group members are participating remotely in today's meeting. Because their physical attendances today would be unreasonably difficult, all working group members are participating in the meeting by the Zoom video conferencing app, and all members hopefully will be clearly audible to each other. Thank you all for being here today, for being members of this group, and I thought we would start today by introducing each other, ourselves to each other. And John Cahill, you are the first alphabetically. All
right. Well, Steve, thank you very much for, I'm glad to be part of it. I am a Dukes County Commissioner, and also I'm representing Tisbury on the other task force group.
Great. And Allison Fletcher, you are next.
My name is Allison Fletcher. I'm the Director of Shoreside Operations with the Steamship Authority. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. And Doug Jones.
Doug Jones, I'm on the board of the select board of the town of Falmouth.
Great. And Mike Moreau.
Hi, I'm Mike Morrow, Transportation Planner with the Martha's Vineyard Commission.
Great. Thank you. Michael Santoro.
Yes, welcome everyone. I am the Oak Bluff Selectman representative to this task force, and I'm also a member of the Transportation Task Force also.
Great. And I'm Steve Sayers. I'm counsel for the Steamship Authority after retiring as general counsel 2 years ago now. And Nat Trumbull.
Nat Trumbull, thanks everyone for being here. 50-year plus resident of Woods Hole.
All right. The next item on the agenda is a discussion of the requirements of the open meeting law. All of the newly appointed members of this working group hopefully received an email from our general counsel, Terrence Keneally, advising them of the, giving them the meeting materials for the open meeting law and asking them to sign a receipt and send it back to him. Members who were appointed months ago received that back in January, I believe. I think Doug and Nat already have signed that acknowledgement and sent it back to us back in January. Does anyone have any other questions about the open meeting law? We are required to keep minutes of these meetings, which I am more than happy to do. I don't think any of you want to spend your time doing the minutes. And the other thing is that at some point, we are going to have to appoint or elect a chair in the event we no longer have this pandemic to be able to participate by Zoom. I don't think we have to do that today, is my personal opinion. I think we can have an open discussion without any chair, and I think we're all rather civil and nice to each other, and hopefully that'll work out for the next several meetings.
Steve, actually at the last task force meeting, it worked out really well, and having you as our guide worked out really well. So I think we should continue to do the same.
Thank you. At this moment, I'd like to possibly go out of order since we have the three guests. We have Pat Cleary and Greg Carroll and Steve Arujo. And I think two of them are on telephones, which makes it quite uncomfortable for them to remain listening to the rest of our conversation. We had put on the agenda, we had asked them to be here today so that we could talk about issues involving noise and traffic associated with freight trucks in Woods Hole. And is that all right with everyone, just to go ahead to our guests and let us have a discussion about that right off the bat?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
No problem.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, I don't know, I think Allison may have sent you an email that Nat Trumbull received the other day talking about the issues. I mean, unfortunately, I think we didn't realize this at the time, but some of your trucks were identified. But during the hearings that we have had in Falmouth on the 5:30 freight trip, and I know you've been to some of those hearings, that one of the biggest issues are the speed by which the trucks come down Woods Hole Road and the use of the Jake brakes. And what we're trying to do is to find any way that we can reduce those issues. And we're wondering whether you have any suggestions about how that can be done.
Well, Pat Cleary, Cape Cod Express. How was everybody today?
Good.
You're doing well.
Good, good. Couple of suggestions. I mean, we don't have Jake brakes on our trucks, so that's one issue that we don't really have. And moving a little forward on this, the backup beepers. We've got the lowest decibel backup beepers that you can have on a vehicle. We've instructed our drivers to abide by the speed limits, make sure that we're driving safely, and to shut their trucks off when they arrive at the Steamship Authority. And to the best of my knowledge, I mean, I checked with local police departments, Falmouth, Woods Hole, and the state police, people that I know. I haven't had any infractions, speeding, DOT related, anything like that from any of the local authorities. So when I saw that we were in this, it kind of surprised me. We do have, 10 trucks a day, 12 trucks a day going back and forth to Martha's Vineyard on a daily basis. Although I'm not on the 5:30 reservation, we are on just about every other boat going to the island and coming back from the island. So for our part, I think that, we're adhering to the guidelines put before us, and we do the best job we can. We might get there a couple minutes before reservation here and there, but for the most part, with as much volume as we have, we try to abide by all the guidelines and rules that have been put forth. So that's what I can say as far as what I feel and how we participate.
Great. Thank you, Pat.
Steve, may I ask a question? Or I can wait.
Go right.
Pat, one thing we hear regularly when we check in with the steamship employees is, oh, that's a new driver. He didn't know, and the regulars would have known better. Of those 8 or 9 or 10 trucks per day, how many of those? What is the range of number of drivers you've got? So, are there likely to be drivers from time to time, or just?
We have 158 drivers a day for the fleet, but those trucks going to and from the island, for the most part, I would say on an average, at least 6 to 8 of them are regular drivers going back and forth to the island. There may be a fill-in driver here and there. There may be an afternoon driver when we go on the evening boats, because we have 2 evening boats during the summers. So that may be a driver filling in or a part-time guy, but there are going to be times when people do fill in, and for whatever reason, they might not be totally up to speed. But as soon as we find out about it, we address it immediately. Allison's been nice enough to send me plenty of emails when we're 1 or 2 minutes ahead of time for our reservations. If we're supposed to be there for a 7, we're there at 6:59 or 6:58 or 6:57. And when we hear that, we go right after the drivers and make sure that we're adhering to that policy. But it's hard to pull over, because if you're late and you get behind an accident, we don't like to pull over anywhere. We like to go straight to the boat. That way we don't get delayed and we don't cause any other traffic issues or problems.
Thanks.
There is one thing I'd like to add, because Allison and I both review all the truck arrivals time at the Woods Hole terminal every morning. We've been doing that for almost 2 months now, or more than 2 months now. And what I've learned is that our emails beforehand said that customers had to arrive at least 30 minutes beforehand. And now that that's been clarified for the freight shippers, that I think Cape Cod Express is one of them, they're coming in pretty much only 15 minutes to sometimes even 10 minutes or less for their scheduled departure. And hopefully that's making it that they have to pay for less time for their drivers, and it's more efficient for them. And I don't think we've ever left a Cape Cod Express truck behind because they didn't arrive on time. But apparently Allison has mentioned that that's because there may be more than one Cape Cod Express truck on a particular trip, so that the driver of one truck can sign in and fill out paperwork for 2 drivers or more.
Steve, if I may, related to this, the question that maybe Pat can say right away, what we find takes extra time is that going into the terminal, signing the ledger, whatever they do inside. There are a couple of truck lines who don't need to go in. Is Cape Cod Express one of those? And a question for Allison and
They
Steve
go
and
inside
Steamship.
to sign because they bill out each truck individually.
So this will this will be familiar to Allison, because we've been asking about the possibility for several years. Might there ever be a day with technology when a truck driver doesn't need to spend those extra 5 to 10 minutes to find a place to park, shut down the engine, or?
Well, they're going to have to park no matter what, because by the time they get in, the boat unloads. We just can't have them looping around.
So the question was whether or not they wouldn't have to go into the terminal building, stand in line there, which I've seen 5 or 6 truckers lined up. When we know about the new, I guess not app, but the smartphone ticketing for passengers, when might this be a reality for all of the trucking lines?
I mean, not anytime, unfortunately, in the near future. I know they are looking at redesigning the AS 400, which is where the reservations are on. And when that gets redesigned, that might be something that's included into it. But right now, that's just in the talks. It's not anything that's been committed, so.
I'll keep asking. It just, to be frank, it seems like a waste of everyone's time.
Can I
don't
ask
know
a
if
question,
There's a
Stephen
reason why
Arujo?
they do it.
Sure,
Can
go
I
right
ask a
ahead.
question, Stephen Arujo? What does the time when you park the truck and going in the ticket office have to do it? And that's what you have to do. You have to go get a ticket. When you go to an airport, you have to check in. You have to stand in line. This is just not one area where this is the process we have to do. We're not trying to hurt you. At first thing in the morning, a lot of the drivers just want to come down there as quiet as they can. They want to come there, do their job, and blend in. They're not trying to cause an issue, but this is the process we have to go to. We have to come in, check in, then we have to walk in the ticket office, applaud our trucks, and walk back. When the trucks are parked, they're not making any noise. I don't understand.
Wait, Steve, this is more of a question that Nat has raised about the Steamship Authority's operations. And his point is well taken by us, that if we can somehow change the procedures in the future so that the truck drivers, when they arrive at the terminal, they don't have to go through those procedures, which they have to go through now. That means they can arrive a little bit later, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and the neighborhood, the Woods Hole community can get a little bit more rest before the trucks come down. That's something that I know that Mark Rosen was looking at, and it's something that is more complicated because trucks come down and they aren't the same size as they were when the reservations were made. So all of those things have to be checked. That's something that is for the Steamship Authority to look at for the future to see whether we can improve that.
Right, and the system we have right now for reservations, it's not equipped for it, but it's an antiquated system.
Right, but it's not.
We are looking at updating, so.
But it's not a criticism of the truck drivers at all.
That's correct, right? I could only guess that truck drivers don't appreciate having to get in line either. What envisions is scanning a phone or something at the ticket shed, and they make one more stop before they get on the boat.
If I may, Pat Cleary. When we pull up at the boats, I've done it myself. You pull your rig in, you stop at the ticket booth, and then you back your truck up, park it, shut it down, and then you walk into to get your tickets inside the office. But the trucks are shut down completely. They're not even running. And the Steamship Authority is very good about making us pull off and back in and sit right there and wait. And we shut the trucks down completely.
And Pat, this comes as a surprise to me when you said that none of your trucks have Jake brakes.
None of them. We don't need Jake brakes.
And I'll ask you, do you think any truck drivers need Jake brakes?
Well, that's up to them. Long haul guys and the guys that require those, and they're running for what they need. I mean, certainly we don't need them. We have city tractors and city twin screws. These guys that are running the road further distance and hauling heavier loads and whatnot. That's totally up to them. That's their choice. I wouldn't be the one to say if they should have or should not have it. We don't need it for our trucks. You probably ask one of the guys that does have one, what their choice would be.
And my truck has a Jake brake. I'm averaging gross 99,000.
You're breaking up a little bit.
The Jake brake is used for assistance in stopping along with the brakes. It's used with the engine compression in a truck.
Right.
Me personally, I wouldn't want to haul the weight that I haul without a Jake brake, just because it gives you that extra, I wouldn't say security, but it gives you that little extra time of stopping distance because of situations that go on in everyday life. The car cutting out in front of you, falling off a car or a truck, a kid running in front of you. don't think, you know, the G brakes insult people or affect people. It's basically used as a safety device. And that's my feeling on it.
Yeah, and is I think what he was trying to get to, unfortunately, he was breaking up, is what he hauls compared to what Cape Cod Express hauls is completely different product, weights and everything else. He's doing more stone, gravel, extremely heavy product. Well, Cape Cod Express is still heavy. It's just not, it's more your food, your supplies,
Right.
almost everything else but what he hauls.
It's correct. That's why I asked somebody with that, and they can give a better explanation than I can. So I appreciate that, Stephen.
And when does one use a Jake brake?
I think we lost him.
Yeah.
It's to assist in braking.
Oh, wait, someone,
I mean, if you're going 30 miles an hour, would you ever need to use a Jake brake?
Greg Carroll, you can talk anytime. I think you are unmuted.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just traveling across the Cross Bronx, listening to everything, and Pat has done a great job explaining things. 30 miles an hour with a Jake brake. It depends if you're going on an incline or not. Regular roads, not necessary. I personally I'm with Harold's Trucking, Bruno's Roll-Off. I've instructed all our employees not to use them from Falmouth down to the Steamship 30, from Steamship 30 through Falmouth. Sometimes you're right. You might get a new hire, once a year and forget to give them that memo, and I'll get a message from another driver to remind them. We want to cooperate and do the best we can, which is our intentions all the time with that. But to answer your question directly, level of service, I don't really think there's a direct need to use a Jake brake, but there certainly is on incline roads and people hauling heavy loads.
Agreed.
I understand that on a highway, going up a hill for heavy load, when you're going 50 miles an hour, you may need to use it, but on this, there's no use I could ever think to use a Jake brake in Falmouth and Woods Hole if you're going the speed limit.
I mean, honestly, the only time I would think that you would ever need that is if someone cuts out from one of the side streets, but other than that.
Maybe I'll mention now, just because we're talking about speed, we did just this afternoon get a report from Chief Dunn, and Selectman Jones may not have had time to look at it either, but we actually, there was a monitoring device put up, and so we'll actually have a better sense of who's speeding. I don't know if trucks are broken out or not.
No.
But if they're not, then we'll have to maybe try to go back or something.
You want to take a look at that now?
Or to video.
Are you going to try to share that, Doug?
At first glance, it's difficult to understand the pie. I don't know. Maybe Doug can explain it. I just haven't had a chance to look at it.
This is at 460 Woods Hole Road, where the speed limit is 40 miles an hour. They don't enforce, they would not enforce the speed limit going over the speed limit until 51.
Hey, Doug, can I interrupt for a second? Where is 460 Woods Hole Road?
I think it's just past the golf course. Is that right, Nat?
Yeah, I'm just looking it up. Huh? It's in that vicinity.
So in that area. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's either right across the golf course or just at the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah, looks like it's.
Wow. Less than 1% over the limit?
Well, no, less than 1%.
So it looks like it's right smack in the middle of the golf course border with Woods Hole Road.
Yeah, that's where it's still 40 miles an hour.
Okay.
Where it's not come down. And well, Steve, that's less than 1% over the enforcement limit.
Enforcement limit.
So we still have a good higher percentage actually speeding.
I'm now looking at the bottom, the 41 to 45, you have maybe a third.
Right.
Quarter.
So that 0.6% seems like it's awfully nice, but it's more that in between 40 and 50 is around 1,200 in the combined.
Okay.
1,200 out of 21 out of roughly 4,000, it looks like.
And do you know in which direction this was taken? Are they going to catch the boat or are they leaving?
That's the difference between lane 1 and lane 2, and I can't figure out which one's which.
Okay.
Honestly, they're speeding in both directions if they're going to be speeding. One has to get to the boat and the other one's getting to who knows where.
Okay. All right.
And they were just going very slowly for 45 minutes.
Yes.
Pent up
Well,
energy.
not that slowly. The truck wasn't moving. Actually, I guess they were going about 8 knots or so. But it looks like it's about the same percentage.
Right.
All right, if you want to look at 260 Woods Hole Road,
That is Quistit.
and this is where the speed limit is 35. The lights itself, the speed limit's actually 25. So it can't be right at the Quistit lights. It must be,
Looks like it's just south of Quistit Lights.
and this is a good deal higher in lane 2.
So they've already been, it looks like it's a couple hundred yards after south of the lights. So if traveling south, they went through the lights or potentially even stopped at the lights. It's about 4 or 5 houses down. Yeah.
And my bet is that lane 1 is coming south and lane 2 is heading north.
Okay. I'm sorry. Are you switching? This is going to be a different one, right?
Yep, this is the 260 Woods Hole Road.
Wait, that says 40 miles an hour.
And this is a 35-mile speed limit.
I feel I'm seeing the same graph.
We're seeing the same graph.
graph.
All right, let me see if I didn't share correctly. How about that?
There we go.
There we go.
Bravo.
Yeah, it's higher.
So the speed limit's lower.
And
I
Doug, you
meant-
said this is up by the light?
It's 4 or 5 houses down from Quistit Lights.
Close to
Okay.
Woods Hole.
Is that where Quistit Hall
south
is?
of-
Yeah, about that.
Okay.
And again, I'm not sure about that, but the fact that the 31 to 35 is so much faster in one lane, my bet is that that is coming towards the light as opposed to having just left a stoplight.
Again, these are cars and trucks, correct? Okay.
Interesting.
Is there another location?
Nope, that's all the chief had, and this was done in May, and he said he's happy to do it again if we have other requests to get more information.
Okay, great.
And how long a period of time was this for? This is,
3 days, 4 days.
yep. The whole day?
I think it's all electric. I mean, I think it's once it's set up, it just keeps running. So I don't think that
Yep.
I'm not sure if the data can be broken down with their collection at different times. It certainly would be interesting to see if 5 minutes or 10 minutes before a boat's leaving,
Yeah.
do we have significant speeding at that time?
Yep.
Or
They mentioned
5
how
minutes
many,
before 5 minutes before Hui starts, at
did they
8:55.
mention how many violations they gave out?
No,
This was not done in conjunction, my understanding is this was not done in conjunction with enforcement.
No.
They just
Oh,
put
okay.
a monitor up
Oh, okay.
just to see.
and
And I don't think the box was even visible. It's not one of those trailers. You just can't see it.
you are warned it's happening, so no one would have a clue this was going on.
Is it possible we could get this breakdown via the time of day in the future?
That would be helpful.
I'll make mention to Chief Dunn.
Yeah, because then you could actually line it up with boats and what
Right.
if it is boat related.
Or Hui related.
Right.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the freight shippers. And Pat, are you still there?
Oh, yeah.
And I apologize in advance, but looking at the email, and I can ask Nat and Doug, if none of your trucks have Jake brakes and you've given these instructions that they're to comply with the speed limit and you have regular drivers there, I mean, why do you think that this person picked Cape Cod Express as one of the, they didn't give any examples, but is it just that you have larger trucks and so they're more noisy?
It's sheer volume, sheer volume. We don't have a lot of road trucks. I mean, our bigger trucks are twin screw tractors, which are, they're a little bit louder than the single axle trucks, but they're all city tractors, what's called a city tractor, which is a smaller vehicle. I mean, a lot of the road trucks are a little bit louder, but you know, they all have a growl to them. They all are noisy. They're big trucks. But when you've got, you know, 20 going a day back and forth from, you know, 7 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, you become, you know, that big red truck with the big white trailer, and people see them all day and all night. And we also haul for the U.S. Postal Service, both in Woods Hole, Falmouth. I mean, those trucks are going down there. We've got trucks going U.S. mail on the Vineyard as well, all day and all night, or should I say morning and afternoon. We deliver to the local post offices in Woods Hole and Falmouth and West Falmouth and North Falmouth and East Falmouth and all of the others. So our trucks are all over the place all the time on the Cape. So by just sheer volume, we're going to be involved in anybody's search. You know, you look hard enough, you're going to try and find it, but you're going to always find a Cape Cod Express truck on the Cape. On an average day, I have 37 trucks a day on Cape Cod.
And a loud engine might sound like Jake brakes.
Well, Jake brakes are very distinct. You know, very distinct. The loud engines and Jake brakes are totally different.
Right, but to someone who wants to complain about what's going on, they may not make a distinction between the two.
Oh, yeah, sure. I can understand
Right.
that.
And Greg, are you still there?
Yes.
But you have also given instructions to all your drivers, unless there's an emergency or something, not to use Jake brakes in Falmouth and Woods Hole and to obey the speed limits as well?
Yes, absolutely. For the last several years, I'll elaborate a little bit on that. Some of our more newer mission trucks have the Jake brakes, but you can't hear them. They're quieter than the engine. The trucks that we call pre-emission, they are distinct, and you do hear them when the Jake brake is on. But those are the instructions that I've given to the employees. I haven't received any other information that we have been in any, you know, non-violation, but no one's written in or called other than a couple of early arrivals we had early on, and since corrected that.
Right, you got those from Allison. Okay.
Yep.
That's it. Point fingers, Steve. Thanks.
And Steve, are you still there?
I think we lost Arujo.
Okay.
Steve, before you move on, if I might ask Greg, one of the other comments in that email was about the Bruno's trucks departing, and I think in this case coming up, heading toward Falmouth. Are there any instructions you could possibly give drivers to shift carefully? I don't know what the terminology is, but not shift too aggressively coming up Woods Hole Road, and which I would sign. I would sign off on the sentences that as trucks. I live near Little Harbor. Coming up Woods Hole Road, and it is an incline, so of course they're shifting, but I would describe that as problematic too. And I don't want to just pick on Bruno's, but as long as it says, you know.
No,
I don't know how you
there's,
respond to that.
it's well, I get sense where he's coming from. If you're coming, there's a little bit of an incline when you're leaving out of Woods Hole, and the Bruno's trucks are typically between 95 and 105,000 pounds, with the recyclables and the garbage and the demolition. So the engines are probably a little louder than they typically would be coming the other direction, because they're, maximizing their RPMs to get to the next gear. Otherwise, you won't be able to get to the next gear if on that little bit of an incline. But I would certainly share this information with all of them again, and try to make an improvement the best we can.
Right, so the weight's going to vary by truck. There is a model, and probably because the truck may be empty, there's a model driver whom I've watched from Stop and Shop, and he shifts, he comes up the hill very slowly and really not very audible. It's just amazing, but he's not, also not carrying, was it 95,000 pounds, whatever you said, probably.
Correct. If he's going up the hill, he's empty.
Yeah. Greg, may I ask, just because I've always wanted to ask this, but not had a chance, what percentage of your trucks are, well, the Bruno's trucks, like, are the garbage trucks are bringing back something? Is it half or a quarter, or just very generally when they come back?
If you want to use it, you mean bringing stuff to the island?
Yes, after they've delivered the trash.
We're 100% capacity going off the island, and
Yep.
we were right around 79. Last year we were 79% capacity coming to the islands.
And is that year-round, Greg, or is that mostly in the summer?
No, that's a year-round number, which the 20+% is typically found the month of December, January, February.
Are those heavy loads coming back, or just to know?
Not all of them.
Mulch?
Yeah, the 60% of the loads coming back have a little weight to them.
But not the weight they have going out. Okay, people ask.
Sure.
Thanks.
Sorry, did I miss the last question?
Thanks.
Greg and Pat, still there? Thank you
Yep.
so much. Does anyone have any more questions for any of them?
I really appreciate their coming this meeting.
Yeah, very valuable. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Glad to be a part of it.
Great, thanks.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
You as well. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Right, thank you for taking that out of order. And we're gonna have to think about all that to see what else we can do to try to lessen the noise issues. Going back to the agenda, and discussing how the working group should function. Prior to the time that the vineyard communities appointed their members, we did not have a quorum of working group members. So the four of us, Allison, Nat, Doug Jones, and myself, were able to just meet and try to institute measures to try to enforce our policies and to think of other ways to reduce the noise and traffic issues in Woods Hole. And it's worked out pretty well in terms of what we can accomplish. We have a list of the things, they were in the section 15A report way back on things that we have done. Also includes that meeting with the police chief, Dunn, who started up this enforcement effort. And we have-
I don't think there's been any enforcement, Stephen.
Oh, not enforcement, but just monitoring effort. Thank you. Very, very good correction. Nat, I think, has a matrix that he was hoping to share today of some of the things that we've done. Do you want to do that now, Nat, or what would you like to do?
Let's see, the golden rule of this meeting is we always end in 1 hour.
Okay.
I might have you. Could you share that, Steve? I'll probably mess it up if.
No, actually I can't because I didn't.
Oh, you don't have it either. Okay.
Okay. But what
So
we,
if I could, there were a couple of items on there I really wanted to I wanted to draw people's attention to if possible.
okay.
Maybe I'll just describe them while you're pulling that up. One, we've had a vision of the steamship reaching out to households directly through either through email, which I think you're doing to some extent, and also by direct mailing. 2 or 3 months ago, the steamship didn't have the few $100s, at least as I saw it, to print out a mailing and put it in the mail. I still think that's a good idea, and I don't know if I don't write steamship checks, but that seems to me it seemed to be money well spent. And I'm willing to stand up in a board meeting and ask if the board could approve it. I would also note that Bob Jones, Barnstable board member, said something to the effect of, I think we should do everything we can to mitigate the noise. So I might mention that at the same time.
If I can interject there, I did hand out to the working group members this is about a special email address that we created, the Steamship Authority, whtraffic@steamshipauthority.com. And before the pandemic hit, we were going to mail these out to all the households in Woods Hole and Falmouth up to the Jones Road intersection.
By postal mail?
By postal mail. And it would have cost more than a few hundred with the mailing, et cetera, but that's all right. It would have cost.
I had a different estimate. I thought you could do it for $400 or $500, but.
Well, then we can talk afterwards. You and I can talk about that. But that's when the pandemic hit, and we're now slated to lose $20 to $25 million. Although the Commonwealth is now going to be covering that deficit, I assume. We were still in a situation where all discretionary expenditures were put on hold. And we can talk about this again now that we're in a slightly different financial situation, although we still have a responsibility to keep that deficit to a minimum. But this is a letter we sent. Instead of mailing it, we sent it to Nat and to Catherine Bumpus of the Woods Hole Community Association and asked them if they could forward the email, the letter to everyone on their mailing list. And I assume they've done that. So we do believe that a number of Woods Hole residents do have the letter and do know about the email address. But that is correct. At the beginning, we thought, and we still think, that the best way to have done it, if we had the funds, would be to do that mailing to all of the households.
We still weren't able to get something on the website. It's easy to get to, right?
Correct, and that is part of the queue with, again, that's another issue with our IMARC, who is our website designer. They have a long list of things that are crucial, necessary, and this falls within the priorities there. And speaking from someone who had a number of projects that they'd like with the website wait for months, if not years, I can't give you any assurance that that's going to be done this year.
Unfortunately, it does once again send the message of where the priority is.
Well,
this is not one.
Yeah, I would second that. When I speak with residents in Woods Hole, the uniform refrain is steamship doesn't care.
well, we have, if you've looked at, we have been sending out, and Allison has been doing it, but if you look at the emails that have gone out, whenever freight trucks have arrived early, and I sent that out earlier today, we have been enforcing it. It has been a daily routine for Allison to go through and make certain that if anyone has arrived early, and this is even 2 minutes early, we have a 1 minute threshold, and that's all we have because of people's watches might be different than the clocks. But it started out with an educational approach from the June 17th or 18th up until the 24th, in which our terminal agents were giving the letters to the shippers. We then started sending out the emails to everyone. And you can see that at the beginning, there were a lot of people arriving early, and that has dropped off dramatically. And now all of a sudden we had a little bit, it's sort of like COVID-19. We have a hotspot again that came up within the last few days, but those are all maybe a minute or two early, and we've sent out emails again, and we understand that that's because there were new drivers, the shippers who all of a sudden there was some turnover. So we're taking that very seriously. The number of trucks arriving earlier than 5:10 is minimal, if any. I think there was just one this past month. And we don't know of anyone, and if there is anyone, we would like to know who is stopping along the side of the road that they aren't supposed to do. We know that was a complaint, but we haven't received a tangible complaint about that happening.
The only truck I've ever seen sitting on the side of the road right now, and that is to do a trailer swap, I think is Kronig's. But that's usually later in the day. It's not a first thing in the morning. It's usually afternoon that I've seen them at that pull-off on Woods Hole Road. I happened to notice it the other day when I was going down there for something, so.
I do want to make sure, Steve, that you and Allison do get credit for what you guys have been doing. But if you really want to get feedback from the local people, they need to be able to go to the website and immediately see, this is where I click. And it's an easy thing to do, but the steamship authorities, by saying we're not doing it because it's not our priority, says that the steamship authority doesn't care. Not that you and Allison don't care, but it is simply a matter of priorities. And that's exactly what you've said, and that's what the people on the website are saying. It's not important enough for us to make it number 1. It's going to be number 50. And that's how it feels if you keep saying we want to hear it, but any local person who wants to send a message won't remember the email that we put out. They're going to go to the website, they're going to click on it, and it's a fairly lengthy search. And I know what I'm looking for me to be able to find how to contact to register a complaint.
Right. Doug, I do disagree a little bit. It's not just Allison and me. It's a lot of people at the terminal who've been very conscientious about enforcing all of this. And it is on the website. I know it's difficult to find, but there is a lot of information that one homepage has to contain for the entire organization, for all the people making reservations, asking about standbys. It's a whole bunch of information there. That's why we tried to create the email address, so that the people in Woods Hole and Falmouth would simply be able to have just an email address instead of having to deal with the website.
Steve, that takes us back to the email address issue. That no one knows that email address. They may have received an email from me. I can't remember when, months ago. That email needs to be publicized regularly. If you're doing postal mailings, it needs to go out twice a year. Again, I don't know if we should pass the hat around or how we do this, but to refer to that email address is almost senseless, because it's not easily identifiable or known. So that inbox is going to remain empty. And I might just add, I still like the idea of having a phone number. People like to call and feel like they're hearing back quickly, and even if it's just a voicemail. This is common practice among other transportation agencies. There is a noise complaint number, and if it's just voicemail, but with some hope of hearing back that same day from someone.
And I guess the 2020 Sail into Imagination Art Contest doesn't strike me
I was going to mention that.
as important as what we're talking about. And that is prime location on the homepage. There are other things that are, I agree with you, Steve, there's some really important stuff there, but the other things aren't as important. I mean, the visitor welcome video, there's that link. There are a bunch of places that the priority is being sent. This is more important than making
It's taken me 3 months to put up a stipulation that there's no driver services allowed for passenger vehicles to Nantucket. So it is an ongoing, long, tedious affair to get things done with this company.
Okay. And that's what I want you to hear.
Have them put a sentence in. That wasn't even a button or anything else. I'm not trying to defend IMARC. Let's just get that one straight. I'm not exactly a fan myself, but
we're not trying to attack you.
Months to get 2 sentences put onto the website.
But Doug, in that we hear you. We understand the concern.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Steve, I don't know if we're going to get around to sharing that document, and maybe you could circulate it later. The other point on there was the initiative, which I think you proposed, to monitor noise on a 24-hour basis, to have some noise monitoring, and either document that neighbors are rightly upset, or that we're document that we're overly sensitive. That I do believe is going to cost a few $1,000, but again, in the big scheme of things, and after all, we all are stepping up this year to open our tax payments to you. That to me would seem a reasonable expense of a few $1,000s to actually document what type of noise is being generated. For example, at the top of Church Street, where there's a willing. I just heard it the other day. She said, anytime you'd like to install monitoring equipment, you can run an extension cord into our house. Happy to, I'll put that on my list at the next board meeting to speak during the public session. Could the steamship board authorize up to $10,000 for noise monitoring?
Okay. All right, we will look into that again too. But one of the things I'm wondering is, my memory is that years ago, you had an app on your smartphone?
Yes, I can stand out there, and you can too, with a number of different apps. But I don't think they would have any credibility.
Okay.
And we really want the monitoring. In fact, this conversation with the truckers would be probably a lot easier if we could say, well, the noise peaked at this moment, and maybe we could associate with some video.
Okay. All right.
To me, that's an important part of this whole working group. Otherwise, we're just sharing impressions.
Okay. All right. So we will look into that as well. We're sort of into the next issue with on the agenda, things that we can do in addition to what we've already done. Number 8. And are there any other suggestions? Those two are the more significant ones at this point, do you think?
I think it might be helpful for the group to see what we've already discussed and tried to work on, but those were the two outstanding, larger items.
Okay.
Doug may have others, but those were what I identified.
Okay.
One anecdotal piece of information I wanted to find out about is one time about 4 weeks ago, I was driving down to Woods Hole, and the traffic was back to get to the steamship, back to almost where the Dome restaurant was. In a way that I remember it used to be that 25 years ago all the time. Had never seen that again recently. Has that been a common occurrence, or did I happen to just hit one bad thing that you guys wouldn't know about?
Do you remember what time of day it was? By chance-ish?
6 o'clock in the evening. I was picking up my food from Quick Salt Taqueria.
Yeah, no, that might have been a one-off weird thing. 'Cause if we do have that line, it's usually the perfect storm of in the middle of a shift change. And then sometimes we get the added bonus of the drawbridge.
Okay.
That doesn't help. But usually the only time, if we try to keep obviously the line down as much as we can, usually the only time if it does happen is at shift change, and that's usually around 2-ish.
Allison, I might add, just because I heard these impressions yesterday from a neighbor who lives kind of across from the Dome, near the top of Church Street. And I haven't seen this. He said almost on a daily basis at around 11:15 in the morning, there's some series of events that take place, arriving boats, departing boats, and almost on a daily basis, traffic backs up to the Dome. So I don't know. He had a whole diagnosis.
Ish.
Yes, 11:15.
Well, we have 3
back to you.
boats in. We have the 10:45, the 11:05, then the 11:30 all at the same time, and the 9:50 if you really want to throw that in there.
Well,
that might be a nice perfect storm period at that point.
But we can look into that and see what
Yeah.
the cause might be.
he said it was almost daily, which surprised me, but I have no reason to doubt it.
It used to be when we had standby lines also.
It was worse with standby lines. Let me tell you. Went up to Quistit Lights that one time. So. All right. Any of the vineyard members, this is sort of, all the vineyard members have come in sort of midstream because we've been having these discussions for several months about how to mitigate. But does any of the members from the vineyard have any suggestions on how we might improve things?
Steve, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, John. I didn't see your hand up.
Go ahead, Michael.
John
Go
had
ahead.
your hand up. Go ahead.
All right.
I'll yield to you.
Curious, and maybe you have. Thank you, Michael. The curious, have you guys reached out to, how many of the trucking companies or the common carriers have you reached out to?
In regards to being early or just in general?
Informing them of what you would like, how you'd like them to behave.
Every,
We've heard from
3 times a year, roughly. It has been slightly more this year because of all the COVID schedule changes, but roughly 3 times a year, we send out letters to all our shippers, explaining to them about Jake breaks, speeding, when they can arrive, all that. We send those out minimum 3 times, if not more.
And that's the letter that most recently went out on August 12th. That we
Correct.
attached that to the documents last week. And sent out
every
to everyone.
time a trucker, a company, we have to remind them that they showed up early. We resend it to them as well.
Got it. And what's been the reception from the owners of those trucking companies or the carriers?
Generally speaking, it's been positive. I'd say about 95% of them have been positive.
They have been
Okay.
they have been very apologetic. And when we met with Steve Arujo in February, he mentioned that one problem was that many of the customers of our customers use other companies in order to drive their products. And we have found that a number of the issues happened when it wasn't the customer's driver, it was the shipper they're using. And so those, when we sent them
Third party.
those emails, and said if they continue to do it, they may not be able to get the reservation, they got extremely apologetic and went back to the third parties to make certain that they got the message.
Sort of building on this, and I don't want to keep going, I can stop, but let's suppose a new trucker, carrier, 18-wheeler books a reservation. Do he or she get an email saying, hey, here's the rules of the road as you hit Woodhull?
They, Steve, yeah, if you want.
The only email that they get with the reservation confirmation now is the early arrival times when they are not supposed to arrive early. We're relying on the freight shippers to give their drivers or their third parties the letter that we send out periodically.
And I mean, the good thing too is, oh, sorry. I was
I'm
gonna
a
say the good
moving
thing-
company. I'm sorry to interrupt, but my example would be, if I'm a moving company from New Jersey and I'm moving a family coming up here, I'm going to take my 18-wheeler down through Woods Hole, I'm not going to get that notification.
Correct, unless you're on our bulk freight list, which you probably are
Right.
not.
Right.
And the one good thing about those reservations are usually they don't get the early morning ones, just
Right.
because they're in the bulk process, so they miss out on us. Nice.
But they do make noise all day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'd like to ask Nathan, not that I'm new to this, being on this side, we've heard of the issues going on, and I'm taking this all in and understanding your concerns. I have to ask though, there must have been, through all this, has there been some improvement, or is it just no improvement at all? Has there been any type of?
Oh yes, Well, we were getting trucks at 4:15, 4:20. We still have the video. A lot of parking in Woods Hole Village for whatever reason. At 4:30, the idling, at least in the village, is down, I would say. So, yes, there's been improvement.
Which is good. So, and when did these notices start, Allison? When did the notices start going out to the companies?
When The offending notices, we did that at the beginning of the summer, which was, we started in end of May, beginning of June, I believe, was it, Steve? It's been going on for a while now.
We started sending out the notices in May and June, and then we started to send the violators reminders of the notices on June 24th.
And this is the first year.
Correct.
So there's been, it sounds like that you keep going on this track, what you're doing, you know, as we heard from some of the drivers. I think each time that you reach out and you hit them, there's some positivity going on there. And also, you know, Nate, I think you're right. I think if we can improve the communication every time there is a complaint, the steamship will be able to get through faster to the offenders. Correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but I mean, I think if we can get that cleaned up, that's going to help also. Have you been able to reach out with any of these complaints that come through? Have any come through at all?
Well, unfortunately, we haven't received any complaints. And that's why I keep on testing this email address to make sure it works, and it does work. And the idea is that when someone hears a large truck using Jake brakes or speeding, that they can email in real time. That email goes to whtraffic@steamshipauthority.com, and it goes to 4 recipients: the Woods Hole Terminal Manager, Allison, me, and Bob Davis, the General Manager. And all 4 of us are on it, and we hope that among the 4 of us, there will be someone awake or on duty or doing something that can take care of it. But we have to date only received, I think, a total of 4 emails. One was from one of our board members, and that may have been 2. I think 2 were from Nat. Nat sends them, but they're more general communications. And someone asking about a decibel meter, which Allison responded to as well. I don't think we've gotten any since June. And so,
Steve,
so Doug and Nat are absolutely right. If we can promote that more readily in the village and get that email address out so that people actually put it in their contact list, then what we want to do is we want to address those in real time. Hopefully, when that truck is coming down the road and someone emails us, by the time that truck gets down to Woods Hole Terminal, the terminal manager is going to be able to ask about it and say ask what they were doing.
Thank you, Steve. So some of the issues, or some of the things that came up on the traffic task force last meeting was, so I brought up the fact that I own 4 businesses on the island, and I rely on, they're all food businesses, and you know, I rely on trucking. But one of the things I've learned, you know, we talked about, well, how can the steamship, there's so much competition out there. We seem to have so many different companies coming to the island. And I asked Steve, who gets priority on these boats? I mean, at some point, can every company make their way over here? I don't, it's crazy. So I've done my part. I'm down to 2 companies that I deal with to deliver my food. And then I'm talking to some of the companies, and what's happened is, because of the shortage of drivers, they've gotten rid of the big trucks because they can't find enough drivers that have their licenses to drive the big trucks. So they've gone down to smaller trucks. So we have more trucks coming over there. So that was one of the issues we discussed. And the other issue was, you know, New Bedford, and, you know, it was, you know, we discussed it, and I don't think anybody would be, you know, against it, I think, except the truckers. But the issue is having a port on Martha's Vineyard that could accept it. And, you know, Ralph Packer's property at one time was discussed, but we're understanding now that he's now going to work with the wind company, and they're going to be using his port for the next 4 or 5 years. So that's tying that up. But those were some of the things, you know, we discussed on our end here to help with maybe some of the mitigation that you're dealing with. And I'm looking forward, that was our first meeting, I'm looking forward to, following up on that also, because also over here, we'd all like to see less trucks, but unfortunately the island is growing, as I'm sure Falmouth is also. So it was a very productive meeting, and I just wanted to let you guys know some of the mitigation things that we brought up, and that, we're open-minded, and this has been very eye-opening for me also.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
Could I just echo what Mike had said earlier? What little improvement has been seen over the last couple months as far as the enforcement goes or the violation goes. It's a matter of ingraining this into the truckers' heads. It's along the same lines as when a police officer's parked off the side of the road, kind of like a speed trap. You go by it several times, you kind of becomes ingrained in your head that that a police officer might be stationed there. So maybe as time goes on, and you keep ingraining this and educating the truck drivers as they approach or are leaving Falmouth or approaching Woods Hole, they'll know to kind of enter with caution, I guess I'll say. So I just wanted to echo that as to what Mike had said earlier.
Thank you, Mike. So at this point, Allison and I are going to investigate the idea of the mailing and the decibel meters. And we're also going to find out what the list of actions items are for the website. We don't expect to come back with optimistic news on that one. I just want you to know that in advance. But if no one has anything else, since we only have 5 minutes before Doug has to leave, if we could talk about the time and date for our next meeting.
I just had one quick thing I wanted to say. Nat, you have that website that you guys post a lot of the violations on in regards to trucks arriving early. I forgot the name of your website. But I was thinking, is there any way you can put the email address on that site? If it gets traffic, at least now it's in a place for people to see it going forward.
We can do that today. Again, that site is probably not well visited on a regular basis.
For it, but I'm just thinking.
Sure, that's.
You see that? Oh wait, traffic. I remember.
Yeah, I think I may even have. I thought I already posted the letter that goes out to the truckers, but we can repost that email address. But Steve, that email address is a well-kept secret, and evidence of that was the neighbor who wrote the comments about the truckers that we reviewed. Didn't send that. He sent it directly to Kate Wilson. Didn't know to send it to that there was another address to send it to.
Shall we? What about September 30th? Wednesday. No selectmen's meetings.
30th works for me.
Same time, or do you know the time?
Let's see.
That's going to be more to 3 o'clock works for me. I'm retired, so.
Works for me.
That's fine.
Fine for me.
3 o'clock.
Doug, are you still there?
Doug had to leave a few minutes ago.
Okay. Trying to keep a watch on the attendees, not on the participants. So hopefully that'll work for him. September 30th at 3 o'clock.
Good.
And do any attendees have any questions or comments? We have 6 of them. I don't see anyone with a hand raised. Oh, Kate does. Allow to talk. That's very important to do with our Falmouth board member. And I've unmuted you, so Kate, are you there?
Hi, yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can, yes, thank you.
I just wanted to thank everybody for participating and taking the time and effort. I really appreciate it, and I am optimistic it's gonna make a big difference. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain the ever popular motion to adjourn.
I'll
And
make
we
a
have-
motion to adjourn.
And it has to be by roll call vote. So since John Cahill,
I'll second Michael's motion.
okay. And how would you vote on it?
I would say yes. Cahill, yes.
Okay, Allison,
Allison, yes.
Mike Morrow,
Yes.
Michael Santoro,
Santoro, yes.
I will say yes, and Nat.
Yes, and I wanted to thank our vineyard participants. We really appreciate it. I
I
didn't,
was just gonna say, nice meeting our neighbors.
Yeah, nice meeting
Absolutely.
everyone.
Great.
good to see you. Thank you. Thanks for helping.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you all, and talk to you all in 1 month.
okay.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.